It's my pleasure to call upon Dr. Mathialagan, the UK chapter of the JMFOA, to deliver his welcome address and the JMFOA review of the past 10 years. Thank you, sir.
Welcome to you all. Thank you for those kind words of introduction. Honorable Chief Guest, Professor Jane Gillies and children, delighted to see you. Many of you have turned up with your families and looking wonderful as always in our traditional attire. Today is one of those special days in our JMFOA calendar where we get together annually to renew our commitment and raise fund to help and support our alma mater. But this year is a very extra special for us. We have come to a place where we started our medical journey, in my case about 35 years ago. I thought it is a fitting occasion to review the history and share our, what happened over the past 10 years, the commitment, the characters, the fortune, and the coincidence which all played a part in the evolution of this organization. This was the picture showing the laying of foundation stone. Far right of your picture is Professor Parameswaran, and it is heartwarming to see that. And as many of you are aware that first few batches were taught in Kaidari. This is a picture which we took exile in 2010. The person next to me was the first batch, our JMFOA treasurer of the UK. UK always like to talk about weather because it's unpredictable and it's variable. But I always tell them that in Sri Lanka we have got only two weather, either it is hot or very hot. And this reminds me of the picture that during my first few terms in Kaidari, and you have tutorials, lectures and seminars and histopathology practicum. You go into the literally next door to the faculty, there is a toddy tavern and you have few drinks, and then you realize that you can understand a lot better than you did in the classroom until the exam period begins. And our time, when we were students, we had long hairs and bell-bottom trousers, quite rightly so. But if you look at the current crop of students, by contrast, they look a lot smarter, better dressed, and more importantly, they are good looking too. As I mentioned, the founding, this was started in 2004. And the idea was to have a very close link with our local alumni, and we wanted to pursue and support and help medical education. And we've been working very closely and collaboratively with our local alumni. I think I want to just show you the history in pictures, which tells more than the words. This is where it started, and I believe that the idea was conceived in London and was born in Canada, nurtured in America, and then furthered in Australia and New Zealand. But I know that my American colleagues have a different version of this, because we know the Americans think differently to the rest of the world. I think it is important to recognize few individuals who've been instrumental in the organization over the past 10 years. In this picture, you see three great American presidents. I must admit that I missed So Mason, who is the founder president. I couldn't get all the pictures which look decent because Gomez always was very much in the form. And so the Nandan is the president a few years back, and then the current president Norman, and then the president-elect is Ravi. And I have to say the American been very They have done an excellent job. What they did was what their very famous president of US of America, they asked not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. And I think it's very true because of what they did, and they're able to maintain this organization in difficult time. And I'm sure Norman will tell more about what they have been doing. But in the UK, we mainly focused on teaching and training, both in undergraduate and postgraduate training. I don't have to remind the audience here today, the last 3 decades have been very traumatic and difficult for the entire community. And inevitably it had negative impact on every aspect of people's life, and including medical education. But the colleagues in the staff, in the faculty and in the hospital have extremely worked hard, shown unfeigned dedication, true altruism and also leadership to battle through these difficult times. And some of them are here in the audience, I can see. I would like to take this opportunity to salute their commitment and dedication to serve our community in the face of adversity. We have been doing tutorial seminars and also ward-based teaching over the past 3 years. And also we have organized up to 20 postgraduate MD trainees to obtain a post in the UK. We always get excellent feedback. And also, I think you saw this picture this morning. ULA has been an asset to our organization. When we looked for people who can help with the educational program in the UK, ULA didn't have to be persuaded, volunteered kindly, and you see have been coming almost every year to teach and train histopathologists and the students. And we are very grateful, Ula. I know that given that you are very modest and humble, you probably wouldn't happy with that, but I would like to take this opportunity that we greatly appreciate your help, and long may service continue. It is important to have an architect who always set very high standard to continue this program, and we are very fortunate to have Dr. Parthiban as our educational coordinator. He works extremely hard. He also expects everyone else to work like him. We have difficulties in sometimes trying to maintain the standard, but because of Parthiban we have been able to maintain this educational program, and we are very grateful for Parthi. And Parthi, there are many graduates both locally and internationally have secured leading role, and it is a cause for celebration. And that reminds me the great poet and the literature and the philosopher Thiruvalluvar, when he said, I think English translation doesn't do justice for Thiruvalluvar wording, but I think the mother who hears a son called a wise man will rejoice more than she did at birth, which means the DEFNA medical faculty is very pleased and very happy to see the graduates doing well, both locally as well as in their adopted countries, and doing an excellent service. We touched on this aspect earlier on in our symposium. In the past, as trainees, it's not unusual to see, Professor Daker mentioned that she had to do a pacing even without seeing one. But it was the name of probably the standard in the past. But the safety agenda has put us into a different era now, and this is unacceptable. Now we can learn and master the skills of chest drain or central venous catheter or lumbar puncture or laparoscopic cholecystectomy in a real scenario situation before you practice on the patient. I think that is the way forward, and that is how we should be aiming for. And this is why we are very keen to develop a life support center, which extend to have the skill labs and the simulation as well. And we feel that this only will not improve the patient care today, but also will help to train Jaffna doctors of tomorrow. It was Sir Isaac Newton who observed that if I have seen further, it's by standing on the shoulders of giants. I know that we have got many giants and also many giantess too, and it doesn't come further than Professor Jane Taker. I know that we've been telling how glad and how grateful we are, but it's just to show that we are very, very pleased and highly honored of your presence today. It is a cliche that the future is bright, and if you look at the symbol of this particular part of Sri Lanka, that palmyra tree, it was broken. During the wartime, the head of the palmyra tree also was blown off. And what we want to do, we want to generate a sense of pride and self-belief in our younger generation so that they can stand tall, be counted, and provide the leadership and also to shape the future of this place. And thank you for listening.